The brainchild of a cooperative wholesale society clerk, the Workers' Educational Association has become the major national voluntary adult education organisation in Britain today. Albert Mansbridge had an ideal. Having halted his formal education at the age of 14, he believed it was the right of every working man to have access to further education. He himself attended a wide range of university extension classes, at that time the only adult education available. But he felt that the working classes were alienated by the benevolent middle-class university extension scene. He saw the need for a new kind of organisation in which, as he put it, the consumers of education must themselves take an effective part in its provision. The Association to Promote the Higher Education of Working Men was established by Mansbridge in 1903. In 1905, the association was renamed the Workers' Educational Association, and the first branch in Scotland was founded in Springburn, Glasgow. With voluntary and material support from trades councils, local trade union branches and cooperative societies, and the leadership of socially conscious academics, the WEA branch movement in Scotland gradually developed. The first of the permanent branches were formed in Edinburgh 1912, Aberdeen 1913, Glasgow 1916, and Dundee and Kilmarnock 1917. From the outset, the pattern of WEA development differed in Britain, and by 1924 responsible body status was awarded in England and Wales. However, despite continuous lobbying over the years, this has never been the case in Scotland, where the association has always had to campaign hard for political recognition of adult education. The WEA Scottish Council's pamphlet, How to Get the Best Out of the 1918 Education Scotland Act, marked the beginning of a concerted and enduring commitment to secure recognition for adult and worker education. Together with its allies in the EIS, STUC and cooperative movement, it also campaigned for free, comprehensive state education from nursery to secondary, and for raising the school leaving age from 14 to 16. In the immediate post-war years, the newly constituted WEA Scottish Council forged permanent educational links with the organised labour movement and its large and growing membership. In March 1919, Herbert Huyton was appointed as the Council's first organising secretary. A skilled engineer, Huyton was also chairman of the influential Glasgow Trades and Labour Council. Betty Nash remembers her father's pioneering work. As his field was the whole of Scotland, he was often away from home, opening up new areas of WA activity. I recall one occasion when he returned from a trip to the Highlands, filled with triumph because he had won enthusiastic support from the Secretary of the Scottish Agricultural Workers' Union. This was Joseph Duncan, already a champion of workers' education, before becoming a long-serving chairman of the WEA Scottish Council from 1920 onwards. The first of a series of formal partnerships between WEA and trade unions began in 1919, when WEA and the Iron and Steel Trades Confederation formed the Workers' Educational Trade Union Committee, known as WETUC. Many other trades unions subsequently joined to sponsor a variety of classes and schools for their members. In 1920, William Marwick became the first paid WEA tutor organiser in Scotland. He was appointed specifically to deliver this new partnership in the industrial communities of West and Central Scotland. Workers' education then was an ideological battleground. It was a time of worker militancy associated with wartime unrest and Red Clydeside. The WEA's involvement in trades union educational work was hotly contested by the rival Marxist-oriented Scottish Labour College movement, led by the revolutionary socialist teacher John Maclean. These differences were sharply expressed in January 1926, when the 1,000-member-strong Edinburgh branch sensationally split from the association, alarmed by a mistaken belief that the WEA was to merge into a unified education scheme with the labour colleges and the TUC. But the WEA's unique blend of liberal studies and social purpose education is clearly evident in the popular summer schools which were held in Pitlochry and other venues such as St Andrews from 1921 until the 1960s. Betty Nash remembers, "The students were mainly workers, most of them skilled hands who had a desire for knowledge and of the world around them. Many made sacrifices to attend the classes and schools. There were few paid holiday periods in those days. They found themselves in a learning environment of equals. I believe that, for a week, the WEA showed them another country, a better place." There was a transformation in relations with the universities too. The Oxford model of a joint committee of both university and WEA began at Glasgow University in 1924, with some funding to provide liberal education programmes. The other universities and more local authorities followed suit. More flexible policies were agreed concerning the subject matter, structure, length, location and cost of classes. As ever, into the 1930s, the WEA continued its role of galvanising and stimulating demand for liberal education classes amongst a wider constituency of workers. When Newbattle Abbey College was opened as the first residential college of adult education in Scotland in 1937, prominent WEA members were appointed to the Board of Governors, a relationship which continues to this day. And WEA students were amongst the first to attend. Writing in the WEA Glasgow Branch Adult Student Review of 1938, Peter Price describes his experience. "The courses are intended purely for working class men and women who are determined to make the most of what is in them. The bulk of the work is done in tutorial class, in which the resident tutors direct the study of small groups of students. This is widely recognised to be the ideal method of teaching." Voluntary members, students and staff take up the story from 1940.